Okay.
Let's start.
All right, so this is going to be really cool or really awkward, so we'll see how it goes. Let's just talk with Mark. We're bringing Matt in here, Matt Irving. He's a really good friend of mine, and we were deciding if he's a BFF or a BF, but we'll figure that out later.
When we die?
What was that?
When we die?
When we die. Well, yeah, we'll know at
Was
the
it
end,
forever or
but
not?
Matt's a really, really good friend of mine, and we wanted to talk about kind of business and entrepreneurship and things that he's done for the community. And so I was the one to come in and do this. And before we start all that, this is Lunch You Made, and we started this 6 episodes ago. This is the 6th episode.
Yep. 6.
We're gonna go ahead and say if you want to keep watching these, there's a notification thing to get notified when we go live, and we're gonna go from there. So I'll introduce with no.
Also, by the way, tough act to follow. The mayor, council member, arcade coffee, Justin party. Come on.
Yeah, but you're right up there, right?
I appreciate that. It's nice of you.
So as we start off with Lunch You Made, what did you order?
We ordered In-N-Out, and you might be like, In-N-Out burger, why? That's pretty common everywhere, but there's a reason. That was my very first job, right here in Indiana, Madison. 16 years old, got hired In-N-Out, instantly got chicken pox, had to take like 3 weeks off.
Did you give every other chicken pox?
No. I mean, who hadn't had it by then? I was a rarity by then. But for me, throughout my entire life, my work career, construction, programming, entrepreneurship, everything comes down to, what I learned in In-N-Out. You got time to lean, you got time to clean, friendliness, customer service, give people the benefit of the doubt. If you show up at In-N-Out and like, hey, this burger I ate, wasn't that good? You have like a nub left, they'll make you a new one, no problem, we got you. How can I help you? Just this friendly attitude, hard work, everything done right, a place for everything. I think, my goal was for my kids to work at In-N-Out or something like that, right? So it's just really neat. It's got a lot of heart for me. I love the company. I love my, what I learned there, and so it's just a real big part. Plus, In-N-Out's In-N-Out. Who doesn't want In-N-Out?
Would you say that started kind of like the whole process of this, as we go through this, the path that you've led? Was that a strong, a building block?
Yeah, I mean, I probably reference that several times a year, maybe monthly, to someone I'm talking to in some avenue saying, here's what I learned in In-N-Out. This is why it applies to everything in life. It's just one of those things, like everything I learned for life, I learned in kindergarten. That's kind of the concept. Everything I learned from that first job working in In-N-Out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then so from In-N-Out, well, first introduce yourself, I guess, since I'm going to do a crappy job at it. Let you do it. Introduce yourself, and then I want to know what's that path that you went to from being from In-N-Out guy.
Can we get the professional? Can we get a professional interview here?
To System Go IT.
Yeah, my name is Matt Irving. I am the CEO and co-founder, along with Chris Cook, of System Go IT. We are a local tech services firm. I say tech services because we actually, we are in the service industry. Go back to that In-N-Out, model. Like, we take care of customers. We're not there to do technology for technology's sake. So we, work with so many great clients. Habitat, Path of Life. You had Damien on last week, right? Even Parkview that we take care of them, and then Water District and Loma Linda University. We just have a great base of customers that we just love taking care of. And so we are a tech services company. My background, as you know, goes from In-N-Out to pizza to carpet cleaning to construction to I'm going to go to school and become a programmer to working my way up there and then starting this company.
And so how long did that take?
My entire life. We started this company 8 years ago. Do I have to out my age? Is that what we're doing right now? Yeah, I spent a long time doing that stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, and then you were supposed to go into a little bit more about so you were an operator engineer.
Yeah,
correct?
I was driving in circles, sucking dirt and diesel.
So let me go straight. So you were flipping burgers.
And
then from what I understand is you were
making pizzas.
You're making pizzas.
Yep. Cleaning carpets.
Yep.
Then I got into heavy equipment operating.
Okay.
So giant pieces of dirt moving equipment. I was
what are those called? Those big.
Well, it depends. Those scrapers, the big one,
Scrapers,
that
okay.
651, 657,
Right.
And then I moved on to a dozer, which we call the push cat, and I'm pushing the scrapers to get dirt. Just a lot of cussing in construction. It was a different world, late 90s, and it was, throw a 22, 23-year-old kid in that environment, and, it was awesome.
And then from that, you went into IT.
Yeah, after about age 25, we'd been married for 3 years, and Sarah, my lovely wife is probably watching right now, wanted to have kids, and I'm like, Oh no, I had this freak out moment. Like, if I have kids now, I'm doing this the rest of my life, and nothing wrong with it. It was a good wage, it was a good job, I loved it, but I'm like, I'm meant for more. And I knew I was kind of destined for more than kind of start going in circles, moving dirt. And we had a big talk, and I sought my dad for advice, and he gave me the best advice I've ever had in my life. And I say this all the time to everyone, which is 5 years will be here no matter what. Whether you're doing the exact same thing or you have a completely different life and career, you'll still be 5 years older. That hit me really hard. I quit my job the next week and went back to school. And
Went to school for what?
Computer information systems. Specifically knew I wanted to be a computer programmer. This is like 99 and the internet was just coming around, and it was like, hey, that's pretty cool. I want to do that. And when I got out of school and started my career, I was like, everything else was like these old, mainframe type of systems or desktop systems. Like, well, no one knows how to do this internet programming. Why don't you try that? And so I did that. Worked for San Antonio Community Hospital. Then got a job here at Riverside Unified as a software engineer. And then got a job at an e-commerce company as a development manager here at Riverside. And then became more of a manager executive at a firm in Arizona. I just worked from home and went out there, and my clients are back east. And then started this company.
And then so also too, you were at the CBU, you do something over there?
Yeah, so I actually am an adjunct professor in the grad program at CBU.
What does that mean?
So CBU is a college, university.
Okay, I know that one.
They have a school of business, and so you can get your undergrad, your bachelor's degree, and then you can get it for your master's degree. Okay. And I teach in that program, I teach actually the capstone course for information technology management. So for people who kind of want to be what I am, do this for a career, IT managers, CIOs, or whatever that looks like, I am their final professor, and I'm a harsh professor.
So you're somebody that has experience,
yeah,
and has gone through all of it, and as I never went to college, so I don't really can put a judge, but it seems like there's a lot of professors that haven't been in the real world, and they end up, teaching you, but they don't have real world experience, which is insane. As I started doing the store and the fabrication, oh yeah, that's all great, but the business side of it is, which you helped me, which Norm's helped me, which so many of our friends that I've made through the chamber and stuff like that has helped me realize there's so much more than just being the IT guy. Right?
Yeah.
And you can code like no one's business, but how do you run a successful business?
Totally different skill sets. I think it's called the Peter Principle, where you kind of get promoted to your highest level of incompetence. That's what happens. You're a really good programmer, let's make you a manager, and then you suck at managing because your skill set's not there. Or you're a really good ironworker or artisan, well, let me own a shop. Well, I don't know how to do anything, right? And you have to really work through that. So I started at CBU because Dr. Andrea Scott was the former dean there. She's awesome. She's since moved on, but she had this Dean's Leadership Council, which was basically business members, community leaders saying, hey, let's inform what you do at that school of business to help it. Academia is one thing, and then, just truth be told, students graduate and don't know squat. And they almost don't know, like, they think that degree entitles them to, 80 grand a year. And I'm like, you can't even do what my entry level person could do. And so how to bridge that gap between academics and the real world. And so I was in that leadership council for a couple years, and it just became evident that I kind of had a heart for the students and for teaching. And clearly they had a class that I was perfectly suited for. And so they asked me to teach it. Dr. Hove actually asked me to teach that. And sure, and I loved it. And I really enjoy working with the students and saying, here's what the real world looks like. We're talking about ERPs or data analytics, but really here's what that looks like in your day-to-day. Here's what it looks like for a large company, a small company, things like that. So a lot of fun.
All right. Well, then on that note too, so as we get to being business owners or people, the heads of businesses, they kind of, there's a lot of moving parts into it. But the chamber, how do you feel about the chamber?
So it's, how do I feel about it as a business owner, as an entrepreneur?
As a business owner, and actually, I would say even a community member.
Really?
I have my own opinions as a community member.
Yeah. The Chamber of Commerce in general is probably the most undervalued resource that a community has. Riverside's is phenomenal. Cindy Roth, Nick Adcock, they lead that organization better than any organization probably I've ever been a part of. The influence we have in Sacramento and with military and the connections they bring through so many things. Like, honestly, if you're a business owner or anything and you're not involved in the Chamber of Commerce, you're just leaving money on the table. You're leaving resources and contacts. I can call Cindy or Nick or anyone and say, hey, I'm just thinking about this or doing something here, and they're like, oh, you need to talk to this person over here or over here, and they can just, the connections you can make. Not only that, my dear friend over here, Norm Pelzer off camera, Riverside Living Magazine, what's the other one?
The Biz Edge.
IE Business Edge.
IE Business Edge, sorry about that. We met in Leadership Riverside, which is a program the Chamber runs, right? And connecting, business lenders, leaders together, people who care about the community. It's not like business leaders, but like people who care about the community, people who are involved and invested. Such a valuable resource. So yeah, go ahead. There's my plug for the Chamber. Unsolicited but solicited, but I mean that heartfelt.
Well, and so someone asked me the other day is, should I join the Chamber? And it's just a side note is, and then what do you do? So when we joined the Chamber, when we first opened the store, we went in there and we're like, here's my card, buy stuff from the store. And we're like, hey, this doesn't work for us. But then when Leadership Riverside, it was through the store, multiple people said, hey, you need to try Leadership Riverside. I'm like, what's that? I didn't know what it was. And they said, well, you learn about how the community works, you need to learn all these things. I was like, oh, I'm in. And they're like, oh, you gotta be a Chamber member. I was like, oh, okay, I'll be a Chamber member again. But it's funny, as I think as us three here, we all paid out of pocket for that program. And that was an amazing program. And as we started to go through that, I realized that the more we give back to the community, that's really true. And we do, and it's heartfelt. Like, we care about the community. Everybody rises. That's why we started the store. 170 makers we help. And so that part of the Chamber is the more you give back, it's you can't give and try to expect something, but you just keep giving, and it's just the right thing to do.
So these are kind of like life advices, right? Like I tell my kids, like, be the friend you want to have.
Yeah.
Like, so be the business leader and community member you want to have. Like, do you want to connect? Most of what we do, and I know this, most of good Chamber members do is, hey, I just want to connect with people. Not what's in it for me. How can I be greedy? And not let me walk in and shove my business card and everyone's, hey, do you need this? Do you need this? Do you need this? Do you need IT services? No, it's, hey, how you doing? Well, tell me about yourself. And like, oh, you know what? I know, you'd be great to be in Norm's magazine or something like that. Or look at how many times have we done that? Like, hey, you're a charity. I know Norm writes, let's get you spotlighted there. Like, there's a lot of connection. Just connect people. Be that community member, and you become this. That's just how good things happen.
Well, and that seems to go through, just like you said, all through life. Just the more you try to help somebody else out, it seems the more the world gets to be a better place. So.
Are we gonna sing or hug?
Not on camera. We can do it at the end with food in our mouths.
Okay, that's good.
The other thing too is, so on that note, you've done a lot of stuff for the community. You've been on parts of, for the city, you've been on boards.
Yeah.
Which ones are those?
Well, the one I really had a great experience was with the Charter Review Committee. So every 10 years, a group of citizens are assigned to the Charter Review Committee, and we go through charters, our city's constitution, and we go through this process of, hey, let's analyze everything we do, and do we still want to do that, and what changes do we want to make? And that was a year and a half long process. That was phenomenal. I learned a ton under, Jack Clark was the chairman of that, and just being in that room with so many, honestly smart and accomplished people was just really neat for me. I've also been on the Police Chiefs Advisory Committee. That's really neat to kind of like, talk through issues as they arise, and hey, this incident happened here. We can watch the video and see what's going on, kind of before it gets released to the public, and then just kind of advise, hey, here's how we feel about it. It's really neat. Chief Gonzalez is such an amazing guy. I'm so glad we have him for that job. Obviously involved with the chamber, certain boards and committees and things like that, serve, and at CBU. I've been the board president of Olive Crest, which I just stepped down from. Member board.
What is Olive Crest?
Olive Crest is an organization. They're actually in multiple states. They're headquartered in Orange County, but our Inland Empire branch is we help foster and at-risk families, right? So everything from wraparound programs, foster services, safe families programs, really just the media of our community, the kids, and making sure they get supportive services, whether it's foster to adopt, whether it's just independent living classes for aged out foster kids, just a whole variety of services there. So really neat.
And there's these Meals on Wheels.
Oh yeah, Meals on Wheels, another one I was a board member of. So yeah, what I do is, first of all, a good and bad part of me is on the Enneagram, I'm a high enthusiast. So if we're talking, I'm like, that sounds good, I'm in, and then I overcommit to everything, right? But generally, I have just this really high level of energy. People are always like, oh, how much coffee did you have? I'm like, well, generally a pot, but that's not why. That's just how I am wired, right? But I hear something, and it's one of those things, like, especially like when I was younger, my kids were younger, yeah, like I'm coaching Little League, I'm involved in doing stuff, but my focus is my family, my kids. But they're older now, right? My son's in college, my daughter's in high school. Like, they don't need as much of my time all the time, and so it just became more easier for me to fill my time with like, well, I hear a need. That sounds really good. Those, yeah, I'll go teach an independent living class. Oh, well, yeah, I'll join the board. Well, yeah, I'll serve as president because I have the capacity and the time and, the interest. And so you just kind of, as you get involved, if something interests you, there you go. I've never done anything for like, oh, that'll make me look good on my resume or anything like that. It's really just an organic conversation like, hey, you're doing that and you have a need and you're having a hard time, filling this need. Okay, I'm in, let me help. And that's just how it goes.
How many times you look back on your life and said, I can't believe I'm here, or another time too is like, this is such a struggle right now, and I'm so overwhelmed, and you look back and you go, man, I thought I was overwhelmed 3 years ago. That was nothing compared to now.
On the first part of that question, my wife always jokes that she married a punk rock construction snowboarder, and now she's married to a business owner golfer. I've changed, as I've just gotten older and whatnot. But I look back at I was construction. I remember in construction saying, I will never have an office job. No way, ever. Cubicles, no way, get out of here. Of course, went into the cubicle world for a while. And then, and then you look at like what I was doing 5 years ago is different than what I'm doing right now. And 5 years before that, you just always are in these waves and cycles of life as it ebbs and flows and things change and relationships come in and like, well, there's a new way of getting involved, or this thing ended, I don't do that anymore. So as your kids go through different stages, I'm always constantly looking back saying, this is crazy. I bet you are too. Iron worker, selling furniture at the swap meet, opening a shop to Alderette Designs, now fabricating everything cool in Riverside.
I don't know about everything cool in Riverside.
No, everything cool. There's a lot of other stuff being fabricated.
Come on. No, but it was I've been asked to speak at places which I don't think they know what they're getting into, and they say, "Hey, Rico, come speak." But I look back at it and you go, or with the economic development, like we talked about last year, we did that, and it was insane to look back and go, "Oh my gosh, I've done more in the last 6 years than I have in probably my whole life." And to think about, and you've been through the struggles, you've helped me through the struggles, as we're growing, and it's saying to think back, oh, that was such a burden then. Oh, if that was on my plate then, if my plate was what it looked like then, oh my gosh, how would I do it? But that's kind of the thing about entrepreneurs is, at least for me, what I think is, and I don't even really know that I'm an entrepreneur, but I guess I am, is just keep pushing the ball. And I just keep pushing the ball, stop looking around to see where everybody else is at. You have your cause, you have your will, you have your vision, and just push it and just push it and push it. And don't gauge yourself on anything else except for your little plate, and go forward. And then so on that note, I was going to ask you what some visions or what some words of wisdom for entrepreneurs.
For entrepreneurs, wow. So the one thing I've always, like, people always think entrepreneurs are risk takers or like poker players or gamblers, and like, that's not true. They're people who are interested in something and want to drive something forward, but they analyze, they mitigate risk. They think, okay, what's the best case? What's the worst case?
Mitigate risk?
Sometimes.
Okay.
You tried it, right? You want to calculate the risk, right? I'm not, taking, 2 cards and pushing all in, right? I'm looking down at pocket aces or like an ace king, like, okay, well, it's worth this much risk to me. Odds are I'm not going to win, but I got an 80% chance of being successful. Like, you just kind of are always looking at, where are things now? What could things be? It's the problem with entrepreneurs is it's always what's next, right? Like, you get to, that's why you have 3 businesses going right now, right? It's like, oh, well, we need a marketplace. We need, you're always like, I can do, any opportunities just present themselves. You got to be able to manage your time, manage your risk. But honestly, like, I get, especially, I'm not an older, I was, 38 when I started System Go IT, right? And I have people all the time kind of like, should I do this? And I'm like, absolutely. My biggest regret is not doing this 10 years ago. Right? And so you can fail. It's okay to fail. It's okay to start multiple businesses and have the 5th one hit and do it managing the risk. Don't mortgage your entire house and borrow, your grandma's pension so that you could start something that's not going to work out. But with managed risk, try something. If it doesn't work out, try something else. That's okay. Have a fallback job. Have a way to make money while you're getting this off the ground. I love self-funding bootstrap. I have a day job and a side hustle, and my side hustle becomes my career. Method from Current Renewables, right?
Right.
I'm not taking credit. I don't know if Method's ever going to watch this. Method, don't even pronounce his last name. Managurusha, close enough? I don't know. Brilliant, right? And electrical engineer working this day job, and he's asked me one time, Matt, I have this side business doing this, and it's kind of looking pretty good, but I don't know. He was so afraid to quit his job. I'm like, just quit your job. Just quit and do it. I mean, I looked at the books with him. I looked at what he was doing, right? But I'm like, you're there. And he's like the genius blowing up right now, right? He's got like a staff of like, I don't know, 5-6 people, and he's got working on AI projects. But it's so hard for people to say, how do I make that leap? And I'm like, most people, I don't know, almost anyone, present company included, says, oh, I started my own company, that sucks, I just want to go back to a day job. No one wants to, everyone wants to do this, and so I highly recommend it. How's that? I don't know, was that any advice or is that multiple advice?
That's multiple advices, that's good advice. And I see that our food got here too.
Okay, very quick, I got it, Mark, can you come over here?
Yeah.
You have a similar hat style as me, but you need to have the right hat.
Ooh.
So I'd like to give this to you.
Thank you.
I have multiple colors if that's not your flavor.
No, it's not. I was actually eyeballing your hat.
Oh yeah, no. I saw you on the first couple episodes. I was like, oh no, he's definitely a hat guy. You know, a little bit of flex, not going full
thank
flex.
you.
Yeah. So there you go. All right, food's here.
Yeah. What do we got?
Oh my goodness gracious, look at this.
Okay, so you got, I don't know which one's yours. So Mark always does is Mark will eat whatever the guest brings in.
Okay.
Me, I'm not gonna do that because I'm watching. So I got the Flying Dutchman.
Wait. So Rico's going healthy.
Yeah. And then, but I also went with the oh yes, and the animal fries.
I don't do the animal fries.
Why not?
Because they didn't have it when I worked there. I'm a purist, right? So
They did have it when you worked
No,
there.
they did not. Don't
I
tell me.
was ordering animal
Don't tell
fries in
me.
high school.
Yeah.
Wait,
I'm
how old are
older
you
than I'm
again?
older than you.
Okay, never mind.
So listen to me. I used to work fries, and I don't know if it's statute of limitations to this. I just have my little cup of spread there on the side and be like, one for you, one for me. I just be eating fries all day long. So yeah, I used to. Yeah, they didn't have animal fries, but I loved them much.
Can we edit this?
Another thing, go to In-N-Out on a cold day, get half a cup of coffee and half a chocolate shake. Oh, that'll really. Oh, that's so good.
What's that called? Irving?
I don't know. I don't know if they named it honestly, but that's what I used to do every time I work nights in the winter.
What's the lemonade?
Lemon up.
What is it?
Lemon up.
No, it's lemonade. It's a lemonade drink that some golfer.
Arnold Palmer,
Arnold
iced tea and
Palmer.
lemonade.
Yeah,
That's terrible.
see?
Not terrible.
I know, but now the Irving is
Half coffee,
Yeah.
half chocolate shake. Okay, I like
the pump
that.
track golfer, as you like to
Yeah, I
self-proclaim.
used to be. But anyway, this burger's double, grilled onions, add ketchup and extra spread, and an order of fries. And then I'll put ketchup and Thousand Island, or the spread, not Thousand Island.
I didn't know spread came in.
Oh yeah, that's new. They didn't have that when I worked there either. That's newer.
Did they have the pump system? Or no?
No.
That was probably you
Well,
had
they
to
didn't.
scoop
No.
it out.
Yeah. It was a tub. It was a bag. You cut the bag open and put it in this little metal tub, kitchen tub or stainless steel tub.
What did the cash register sound like?
Cha-ching.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't do that now.
I don't even know what it.
You gotta put a card in it.
Oh no, I don't know. I'm out of the loop now. So.
Oh, do they actually? Does anybody know? Can they take? Before it was cash only for a long time.
Oh, they carry a card now, yeah, but
They
they were
are,
holdouts
yeah.
and all that stuff.
They held out,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. I mean, they don't have bacon on the menu yet or avocado. I mean, that's pretty impressive to hold out on
Is
really
it?
popular
Or is it
items.
easier?
It's probably just easier. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's a business.
You think about
decision, right?
the business model, like going back to business, it's pretty solid. When you master it and
Yeah.
you just keep it,
Yeah.
there you go. As long as it keeps coming in.
Can I? Yeah, we're gonna have burgers and lines around the corner, and you will sit there for 30 minutes and be happy.
Yeah. Maybe when the weight goes down for less than an hour, they might bring in like bacon or avocado. But if the weight's over an hour, it's not worth it.
They're like, we couldn't handle this. So.
So, well, Matt, thank you. So this is Lunch It Made. I hope I didn't bore you guys too much. I know Matt didn't. And we'll have Mark back and this.
Wearing a good hat.
Wearing a good hat.
In a future episode.
Maybe. He's got a good hat on right now.
Yeah. I'll wear it next week.
No, they're good hats, but
I'll wear yours next week.
love it.
All right. And we'll have to get hats made then, I guess, too. And where's my notes?
Well, we actually
We're gonna
have
work on swag.
A company note, we're going to get, what is called? Newsies? That's the other thing we determined. We're going to get System
was
Go
part of that
Newsies.
conversation.
Well, I have a newsie wearer in my office. So we're going to
Okay.
get a newsie hat, and then we're also going to get socks.
Do you have a newsy kid in your office?
I
Like
used to-
something that runs around and like hands out the mail?
Hey, sis, we
No, thank you everybody.
Reels.
If you like this, subscribe to or click the notification so you get notified when we get it. If not, we're working on getting it up on Facebook and
YouTube.
And YouTube.
Yep.
And thank you everybody for tuning in, and you have a great rest of the day.